But what do you think that the next several months look like for Michael?
Because I feel like the arm can do, like my body tells me I can do it.
Let's take a minute and measure, see where we're at.
So I'm halfway through my 4th week of physical therapy, and I got to tell you, we're walking a very fine line between doing too much and damaging the tendon, or not doing enough and losing the range of motion. Dr. Edelman got me. We're about to go in here and measure, see if I gained any, lost any, or I stay the same.
Is this gonna hurt?
Me? No.
Yeah, he always pushes it pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
You will definitely see me make some faces. Well, so Eddie he owns Eddie Stebbins Physical Therapy. He has been an integral part of my recovery and training since 2016. I ended up tearing my lat and my pec, and he was the guy that was recommended to go to. Got me started with VFR training and all that stuff. Got me ready for the WAL 2017 when I did the impossible and won the open weight tournament, double elimination tournament that everyone said I couldn't win. And then it's just been, gradual since then, trying to get through injuries and stuff. We just kind of accepted the right arm was, compromised. But I was just going to keep training because that's what I had. Now we have an opportunity to go through this recovery and get it back to where it's somewhat normal, and then find out what's possible. But
all right, here we go. Be strong. Here we go.
So is this where it hurts?
Okay, so it's always tight in the beginning.
Yeah.
It ends up getting me pretty far, but it's that same pressure I used to feel.
So is this supination we're working on?
It's a supination.
We're going supination. He's been in this brace the whole time per doctor's orders. So when we first get started, it takes a minute to kind of get warmed up and into it. So we just do it in kind of in layers, I guess. You can do a little bit, a little bit. And it hurts because this is going into an area, for one, it hasn't been a long time, but for two of you could see, imagine the before and after pictures of the x-ray. There's been a chunk of bone cut out of this thing. So we're hitting new areas this thing probably hasn't ever hit, really.
Yeah, not since the injuries, for sure. Well, we did see the video of him turning it all the way up, right? Mm-hmm. So we know it'll go. And that's the thing, it's because it's been 4 weeks since surgery, almost 5 weeks since surgery. The fear is to let it tighten up too much, and then, because like that, wasn't it like a week ago, we felt that little scar tissue pop, which scared me a little bit. But
it's a balancing act. How far can we push this, but not damage anything?
I want it. I want it to heal.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm because it's so important to me. The 100% healing and recovery is so important that I'm always afraid of damaging it. But at the same time, I don't want to lose the range of motion that Dr. Edelman got me.
Right.
So that's what makes this thing such a tricky task. A lot of people are comparing their injuries to mine, and all they did was just have a bicep detachment, like you've had your tendon detached, like his left bicep just came on. So he's had the reattachment, and even you were back to training pretty quickly.
Right.
But because my tendon, shredded north to south, he had to retubulize or suture it. There's a lot more damage, and then you take all the bone, you take everything he did for the release of my ulnar nerve. It's hard to give me a timeline of when I'm going to be back or when I can start training.
It's very unique.
Yeah, what's the norm? Because this isn't a normal.
Right. So you can't really compare this to any other bicep.
Yeah, right. It's so weird.
It's not typical.
Yeah. But when it does heal back, I'm telling you,
it'll be good.
Have something bionic going on in there.
Okay, so supination is something that can be measured, or
yes, you're going typically 90 degrees of supination, which I don't know if you have on this side fully. That's pretty close. Yeah, palm up would be 90 degrees.
Okay.
But this is 0.
I haven't been past there in 15 years.
Past 0.
No, 0's here.
Okay.
That's probably 20 degrees into it.
Yeah.
But we've been passing 40. That's probably 45 degrees. I'm eyeballing. I don't have it going on to here.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to measure specifically, but that's pretty easy to see. That's halfway.
Look at that. That's further than that right there. That's probably, we're at 60 probably.
And I'm gunning for 90.
Yeah, that's a pretty good range of motion. Now it does hurt.
Yeah.
Once you push it to That last little bit, I feel it.
I'm somewhat limited as far as what I want to push until after the next doctor's visit. But then I'm sure he's going to tell us to go ahead and get cranking with this, and we're going to try to step up the intensity with this range of motion. But there, though, I get to the end range. His face gets red. That's a good indicator.
Yeah.
But there, and then,
and then I can last little bit of tweak, like right
tap
there.
into it.
It's like, okay, he's got me in a joint lock. I gotta quit. Tap.
So it springs real well in that end range. And that's a good sign that we're going to get more range of motion.
Well, you and I both noticed how much more pronation I have.
Right.
Like my pronation is like.
Got a little pop there, but yeah.
I mean, I haven't pronated that far in a long time.
Well, like I say, just open up so much area down there. Another main goal is to increase flexion. We've gained 2 inches from the time we started, 2 1/4.
2 3/4.
So I've been measuring.
Yeah, I always measured from here to here, and I was at 10. You got me to 7 1/4.
Which is more than you've had.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
I don't know.
15 years. For my measurement, I haven't been closer than 10 inches from my wrist to my the front delt, right? So
and we're using that as our standard because that's what he's known before as where he's been at. You could use this angle here, but since this is an angle he's familiar with, it's just true gains that he knows he's gained 2 inches above what he's ever been at. And again, after this next doctor visit, we hope to get more aggressive with this and see how much further we can go with this range of motion. I would imagine for one little bit I know about arm wrestling, another inch or two this way, another few degrees of supination, that probably opens up a whole new avenue of tricks that you can probably
me
do.
Getting closer here makes it way more difficult for someone to open me up and expose me. But for the last 15 years, I've started at a 90. So it's been very difficult for me to keep this angle tight because they stretched me out. So then I developed real tight out here, right? But if I can get here and get to this spot and get this spot tight, I can start from here versus starting from here.
Right, and
yeah, I mean, my starting position is much better. And they have less chance of expose me and get me into the point where I'm having to be so defensive. I can be more offensive. And like you said, with the supination, it adds in different techniques. Really committed, fully supinated drag hook. Shoulder press being closer to my shoulder allows me access to, be able to shoulder press people much faster. But even from a top row perspective, getting closer and getting my knuckles closer underneath me in more of an upright position, I can top up more effectively, especially with the greater pronation that I have now. So he did. So this is where we get most of the range of motion going back to my shoulder. Mm-hmm. It's somehow when he does it down there, it hurts more. The further he gets it this way and pushes, it relieves some of the pressure on my elbow. Now I still feel a lot in the tricep tendon and some where the elbow meets on this side. But this is where we get most of the range of motion when he pushes me this way. But you'll see it. And it'll get me. There is still that little bit of play there, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. That's tight, but it's got spring to it, like right there.
Yeah.
And I still think they got room to grow.
I think so.
One more time.
All right.
I'm gonna hold this for a few seconds. One more little push, and I'm done. That's a pretty good little push.
That was probably one of the furthest ones we've done.
Let's take a minute and measure, see where we're at. Well, then, let's let you cool off a little bit.
So where did we measure last time?
Well, on my point, from wrist, the bend fold to my shoulder, we got all the way to 7 1/4.
And what were you before surgery?
10 inches.
10 inches. So you were to 7 1/4 last time.
Yeah, which is far. I mean, that's really close.
That's pretty good change in the short amount of time you've been here.
Yeah, right.
So this brings you to the front delta. This is the number that he's kind of accustomed to measuring.
Well, that's what I've been telling people for years. 10 inches. Yeah.
What did we get the other day?
7 1/4.
You're at 7 1/4 now.
Just one more inch.
That's what she said.
Just need an extra inch.
Don't we all? That's 7.
Oh God.
That was 7.
You got to 7 though?
That was 7. Look how heavy it is.
Oh, 7's close. 7's pretty close.
And I was on the wrong side, guys, so you're just going to have to trust Eddie. But I just wanted to get Michael's face because that was rough. That was rough.
Rewarding for me, though.
Well, I mean, what I'm optimistic about is I feel like less pain here
Yeah.
The majority of what's stopping me is the tricep tendon. Like, I'm not having the stopping pain.
That was the stopper.
Used to was my stopper was here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 7's good.
Yeah.
7's good.
That's 3 inches.
3 inches.
You know. I'm trying for 110. That's if 0 is straight. So 110 degrees flexion.
So you've gotten 15 degrees. That's awesome.
Out of fun, curiosity, we're getting close there. 135, 136, 136, 37, 137 with a good. That's probably all I want to push, I think.
So maybe 26, 27 degrees is the difference.
Yes.
Okay. So Eddie, since you've known Michael all these years, and like you said, you just kind of accepted that the right arm was what it was, this has to be a little exciting to you. It's kind of like working on a new project, building project.
Well, I'm excited for him. I'm
Yeah.
kind of just living vicariously through him because I think this will open him up and give him a whole new wide array of things, from the simple things like you mentioned earlier, feeding to yourself, to different exercises that you kind of probably do, to actually even new techniques that he can utilize in arm wrestling. So it is exciting. It's like a new chapter it can be opened up to him.
The key is getting the recovery, not rushing it. I can't risk damaging the repair, and that's the biggest thing that, and that's why you're so concerned. You talked to Doc a couple times. He's like, don't do anything, because you and I both want to be a little bit more aggressive,
Yeah.
but we can't until we get the approval,
That's the
right?
tendency, but he's mentioned multiple times that we just do some passive range into supination and into flexion and buy some time, let the healing process take place. I'd rather for him to take another month off of not doing much to have a better recovery in the long run.
So that being said, what do you think, I know that we can't know for sure, but what do you think that the next several months look like for Michael?
I feel like at 6 weeks he'll see the doctor, then he'll give us the okay to start advancing things. I think then the next 6 weeks will be a gentle strengthening phase to tidy up some more range of motion and then start actual light resistance training. Then I think after that, I think he'll be healed enough to really start getting more aggressive and getting back to where he was before all this happened as far as strengthening and training. Then I'd imagine after another 4 to 6 weeks of that, he'll be ready to probably start pulling somewhat aggressive back to your...
Isn't that crazy? Because see, it's such an optimistic time frame. We're looking at 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks. That's not too far away from me actually being back on the table. The biggest thing is, where do I test myself at first? Like, is Rebecca the first person to arm wrestle?
First.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just because I feel like the arm can do, like my body tells me I can do it right now. My body tells me I can do it right now, and I know I can, but it tells me I can't. So it's just once I'm released and once I'm back, everything's gonna be bands and pulleys stuff for me in the beginning, and then it's gripping that first hand, and then it's going maybe. I don't know who from Rebecca, then getting to my stepson Ryan, because he's still, he's a high level, he's good. But feeling that pressure, and then, do I step back into tournaments and do tournaments, or do I try to set up an international match or something to kind of prove where I'm at? Just don't know. But I do genuinely believe I'm back before the year's over and at a high level, It just depends on what that level is and where I want it to be.
Yeah, it's unknown, uncharted territory as of now.
We just don't know.
It's part of the fun, though. Part of the excitement. It's like a vacation to a new spot.
Yeah.
Don't know what to expect just yet.
It's a hard lesson in patience, though. Because at almost 50 years old and have spent 33 years of my life doing this, I'm so used to competing. Like, I'm so used to getting out there and doing it. And then, like, right now, I can't even shut haters up because I can't compete. You know what I mean? Like, you can pretty much say what you want right now. I have no recourse except just letting my body heal and recover, and then waiting for its time for me to come back, Which that's just it's a difficult place to be in.
Yeah, I think better.
Yes, but like I said, that sometimes it's the comeback story is better, when Because like I'm gonna end up having a little chip on my shoulder, I think. Oh.
One more time. Just ease it down. Let him breathe into it. Take the slack up. Get to kind of where I want to be at the end range, and maybe just a tad more, and then come out of it.
So after this, we'll do the normal 20-minute cold E-stim. So wrapping up this today's physical therapy, guys. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy with where I'm at. The fact that we keep each week pushing a little bit closer. Like even today, you thought you were surprised we got to 7. I was a little, because 7.25 last week was pretty tight, you know. So the fact that we got to 7 today, but like I said, it's the hardest thing for me is the waiting. You know, the waiting. But I think we are doing the responsible thing. But what do you think? Are you happy where I'm at so far? Did you expect to be further along, or
I'm totally happy with where we are. Going into this, looking at the X-rays, the before and after X-rays, and talking to the physician on how bad this tendon was. Not only
I actually showed you the video too. I showed you the video.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I really don't know what to expect, but I feel like we're rocking and rolling on this really good. I can't imagine being much further than where we are. It's only going to get better.
Right.
Well, like I said, you'll see the physician up to 6 weeks, and we'll start the next phase of this, which I'm kind of excited about starting, as well as you probably are.
Of course. How'd you like that? It's only going to get better.